You probably heard of Produce 48, the show where J-pop and K-pop stars compete side by side with one another. It's the third season of the Produce 101 series, and naturally, it got a lot of hype. One of the main storylines is how the J-pop stars can't really compete with the K-pop stars, that the K-pop stars come a lot more polished than their Japanese idol counterparts. Yet, I take the opposite view on this, that the J-pop idols actually have some major advantages and will end up succeeding on the show. And here's why. Now, if you're a fan of K-pop, you already know a lot of the strengths of Korean idols. Highly polished choreography, beautiful looks, and stage presence. J-pop idols, on the other hand, don't have that polished choreography, nor polished singing when they first debut. So you're probably asking me, Jason, why do you have so much faith in J-pop? Did you just see what happened to the J-pop idols earlier on the show? After all, you had famed choreographer Bae Yoon-jung just rip into the Japanese idols in the first 2 episodes.
K-pop 가수들이랑 댄서들이 칼군무로 되게 유명하잖아요. 일본에서는 칼군무 이런 거는 중요하지 않은가요?
Praise followed many of the Korean contestants, while many of their Japanese idol counterparts were tossed into the D and F teams, the lowest teams on the show. There was a lot of netizens that posted online saying that the Japanese idols had no chance and that they were pretty terrible. And add to the fact that many of the popular Japanese idols that appeared on this show are actually from some of the biggest groups in Japan, such as AKB48, HKT48, and SKE48. And some of these singers have millions of fans behind them. And these stars were considered some of the more talented idols in the AKB48 family. So to have some of your biggest stars criticized so harshly on the big stage by Bae Yoon-jung, and let me just add that her criticism was very, very fair, and a lot of it was very accurate. It's just really deflating to J-pop and the Japanese idols. But the teachers were encouraging, saying that being placed in the D and F teams were not the end of the world, that members that were placed in the F team risen up and were actually chosen as one of the finalists at the end of the other shows. But just from the first 2 episodes, the tone of the show was set, that the Korean idols were way ahead of their Japanese counterparts when it came to choreography and singing, while the Japanese idols had a lot of work to do and were considered underwhelming and outskilled by their Korean counterparts. Now let's turn this around and talk about why the J-pop idols will succeed. While yes, J-pop can learn a lot from K-pop, the opposite is also true. I feel that K-pop can also learn a lot from J-pop, as you'll see from this video. And J-pop's strengths, which many viewers may not see, actually give the Japanese idols a huge step up in the competition, as we'll find out. Now, I did a preview video of Produce 48 a couple months ago, highlighting the differences between K-pop and J-pop. So in this video, I'm going to talk more about J-pop's appeal, its major strengths, and why the J-pop idols have more than a fighting chance of being some of the 12 contestants on the show. And if you guys don't know, there will be 12 finalists on the show, so it can be 8 Korean finalists and 4 Japanese finalists, or 10 Japanese idols and 2 Korean idols. It doesn't matter. It just comes down to the 12 best and most voted on finalists. Now, the first reason that J-pop idols are very memorable and have fun on stage. And to understand this, we actually do have to delve more into K-pop and J-pop differences. Now, just from watching the first episode of the show, one of the major lessons that this show teaches us is that there's huge differences between Korean music and Japanese music. In K-pop, as you pretty much know, the singers are expected to both dance and sing well. Choreography is especially emphasized. As for looks, the Korean beauty standards are quite high, with a lot of the idols either being hot, sexy, sultry, or very cute with an abundance of aegyo. So it's no surprise that these idols set the standard for fashion, beauty, and makeup. Yet the trade-off for the K-pop ideal is that a lot of the fans put them on a high pedestal. Yet the average Joe, the average casual fan, can't really relate to that. J-pop, on the other hand, is all about idols you can meet, idols that are having fun and just being themselves.
踊りとか歌見せるっていうより楽しみっていうのを見せる方が仕事である。
うちらはそうやってそういうエンターテインメントですっていうことを強調していくしかないよね。
踊れなくてもさ、歌えなくても人気ある人はあるしさ。違うよ、もう文化が。
Former Sistar and now Produce 48 judge So You said, seeing the Japanese trainees is like stepping into a whole new world. Fun and being yourself. Simple concepts that feel like common sense to many of us, yet a lot harder to pull off in an entertainment world. Now with K-pop, a lot of the dance choreography is very sharp indeed. It is very true. K-pop idols on average have some of the best dance moves in the world. Yet I feel that a lot of K-pop groups have this robotic feel to them, that they're just going through the motions or just doing the choreography in synchronization, yes, but there's not much feeling behind them. Yet at J-pop concerts, no matter how bad the dances are, and there are some bad dances at J-pop idol concerts, fun and just being loose are the key ingredients to becoming a successful J-pop idol. Also in K-pop, we talked about just a bit earlier how a lot of the idols are put up on pedestals, how we can't really touch them and they're all the way up there while we're just down here. But in J-pop, there's not really much that pedestal because the accessibility is a lot easier. And a lot of J-pop concerts, there's this thing called meet and greet handshakes or high fives, where you can shake their hand, talk to them for a couple seconds, or even take a picture with them. Good luck having this interaction with your average K-pop group, as accessibility in K-pop is incredibly limited. You'll also see a lot of smiling at J-pop concerts, and some downtime where you'll see the idol talking directly to the audience, as well as the idols being very energetic to hype the crowd. After all, in J-pop, it's all about how much fun your audience is having. If your audience is not having fun, then you pretty much failed as an idol. If your audience is all into it, dancing alongside with you and singing alongside with you, no matter how bad your dancing or singing is, then you succeeded as a J-pop idol. Adding on to this, J-pop idols, on average, are given more leeway to express themselves more freely. Ever wonder why BTS is such a popular group? Yeah, their choreography, singing, and lyrics are all on point. There's another factor why BTS is so popular, and that's because Big Hit, their company, allows the boys to just be themselves, to just goof off, to have fun. And you'll see a lot of this on the BTS's various social media accounts where you see them talking to fans or just having fun like average 20-something-year-olds. And that's the same thing with J-pop idols as well, where you'll see them just express more emotion, just have more fun, and interact with their fans more. And it makes these Japanese idols feel more human, that you can relate to them more. And the next reason, cuteness is relatable and it sells. Now, when you see the average K-pop star, you're thinking, wow, they're very beautiful, or pretty, or sexy, or incredibly cute, as we talked about earlier. And it really feels like a lot of these K-pop idols stepped out of a fashion magazine. But with J-pop, they have that more girl next door image, where you might find plenty of those girls that maybe live in your town that look like them, but they're a lot more relatable. And it adds deeper because people love cuteness, and it's not just in our idols. You ever wonder why cute dogs and cats are among the most trending topics on social media? It's because they're very cute and adorable. We even like our cuteness when it comes to mascots such as Pikachu or Hello Kitty or Totoro. I feel that with the Japanese cuteness factor coming in to Produce 48, it'll actually help them in the long run in the show, just because of the human psychology of how we all like cuteness. The next reason, you grow with the J-pop idols. Unlike K-pop, where you get anywhere from 2 to 8 years of training in a variety of topics including choreography, singing, learning English, and PR skills, J-pop does not have that same luxury. It doesn't have that K-pop bootcamp mentality where every trainee goes through a rigorous sorts of training for years before the debut. J-pop, they pretty much throw you into the fire and right away. And to be honest, the vast majority of J-pop idols when they first debut simply suck. Especially when you compare it to K-pop standards, where they had years of training. But the cool caveat is the J-pop idols grow alongside you, that you'll see the progression of the J-pop idols getting better and better in their performance because they're learning on live stage. You'll actually see them improve with each concert and each show and each fan meeting to the point that they become masters at becoming idols. And it's another thing between the fan and idol relationship that you see in J-pop all the time. It's very emphasized. Fans can get closer to the idols, and when the idol becomes polished over time, fans can say, I followed that idol or group since the beginning. And that's a big pride point for a lot of fans of J-pop because they want to say, I seen these idols grow with my own eyes and I supported them from the very beginning. As mentioned earlier, Produce 48 has it so the Korean idols are a lot more ahead than the J-pop idols in terms of overall performance, singing, dancing, and whatnot. Yet this also sets up the underdog factor, since a lot of the J-pop idols are very hardworking. They just don't have the singing or the choreography polish that the K-pop trainees and stars have. While the show is being touted as both a K-pop and J-pop venture, make no mistake, the Japanese idols are being judged by the K-pop standards of music. Thus, the Japanese singers are forced to adjust very quickly to that K-pop standard that they're being judged upon. Add on to the difficulties that the Japanese idols have to learn the basics of the Korean language as well as the culture, and you have the recipe of all the Japanese idols being major underdogs on this show. But as you know, a lot of people resonate with the underdog story, especially overseas K-pop fans. As I keep mentioning, K-pop has some slick choreography and singing. In fact, some of the best dancers as well as choreography coaches come from Korea. So it's no surprise that K-pop puts a lot of emphasis on dancing. However, I do have to tell you a dirty secret about K-pop, that singing and dancing alone will only get you so far. Meaning that the bare minimum, just to become a K-pop star, is to sing and dance at a reasonable level. I argue the much more important factors to being an all-around, complete, popular idol include being relatable, being likable, and being entertaining. And this theory goes to other forms of pop culture entertainment as well. Let's take gaming for example. Do you know who the most popular Twitch streamers or YouTube gamers are? Do you think it's the most skilled gamer that's really good at the video game or that can beat the video game in a fast time? No, it's not. Usually, it's going to be the gamers that are most likable, the most entertaining, and the most relatable. Another example is from the AKB family themselves. Now, the AKB48 family, including all of its subgroups, are over 600 girls. So imagine that. You're in the AKB family, and there's 600 of you guys, and you have to stand out somehow. So what are you gonna do? You can sing and dance alongside the rest of them, but you need some other factors that will make you stand out. That's why you'll see J-pop idols put so much emphasis not only in their concerts but also TV appearances and whatnot to be as humble and likable and entertaining as possible, because they know that they have to cater to the Japanese fans to be successful. So going back to K-pop, you have all these groups that debut every year, year after year, with awesome choreography and awesome singing, and they're very beautiful. But to tell you the truth, a lot of the groups are starting to blur and become indistinguishable from one another. No matter how much singing or talent you have, and they do have a lot of singing and talent, they need that X factor, that it factor. And that X factor all comes down to the human touches, that we want idols to be kind of like us, to be relatable, likable, and again, memorable. The next reason, a handful of J-pop idols are in the top 12. With over 7.4 million votes in episode 3, the voting results show that a handful of Japanese idols are hitting the top 12. In fact, the first center voted in, Miyawaki Sakura, from the J-pop group HKT48, she was voted in solely from her fellow peers on the show. It looks like the Japanese idols are popular. Now, only Korean voters can vote each week, and this is a change from the show when both Korean and Japanese voters were able to vote, but many of the Korean voters are voting for the Japanese members. And not all of the Japanese members voted in the top 12 are originally from the A or B teams. Some of the lower ranked Japanese idols, the C to F teams, are popular among Korean voters. I guess the reason why many Korean voters are voting for Japanese singers are because of many of the reasons in this video. And if you don't believe me, just check out this fan clip of her being spotted by Korean fans. I feel that a lot of the Korean voters are actually resonating more with the J-pop idols. It's not to say that the K-pop idols are doing bad. Again, they're probably the favorites to get the majority of the 12 finalist slots, but I feel a lot of the Korean voters are seeing some of the it factors with some of the Japanese idols. The next thing is the Twice factor. Now, Twice has 3 Japanese members in the mega popular group Twice. And with the success of those Japanese members, it's more acceptable for Japanese members to be in a K-pop group, because the previous standard was basically Chinese members or Korean Americans that would be the foreigners in a K-pop act. I feel the Japanese members on Produce 48 are being welcomed with a lot more open arms than in years past. And the next one, the K-pop and J-pop idols are starting to bond, and that's awesome. Now, while it's natural for the J-pop stars to comfort each other since they're competing in a foreign country and they all speak Japanese, what's actually really cool is that the K-pop stars and the J-pop stars are actually talking to one another. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see their interactions. A lot of times they're using sign language or using broken English, and it's awesome to see both countries' trainees just helping one another. As Gota Moe commented, if I were to explain it in a single sentence, our companionship is really strong. Matsuoka Natsumi shared, the Korean trainees in the F class will come and talk to me when I'm crying. If I was alone, I'm sure that my will would have been broken, but I'm able to be strong thanks to my friends. Other contestants added, I felt how the distance between our hearts has become shorter in just 2-3 days. Even if we're from different countries, I think what we feel is definitely the same. And we don't speak the same language, but we empathize with one another and learn how to be considerate. Wow, that's really cool. I really like how Produce 48 is making that bond between Korea and Japan just a little bit closer. And I think the idols all empathize with one another because no matter how different the cultures or the languages are, I feel that it's just tough to be an idol, whether it's a K-pop or J-pop idol. Now to extra. Going against the haters of the show. There are some netizens that are hating on the show from both countries, Korea and Japan, and I feel that's sad. As mentioned in the last section, Produce 48 is showing how J-pop and K-pop idols are bonding, regardless of the country's histories and differences. And for people saying that only J-pop idols are profiting from the Produce series in K-pop, I say it's equal benefit for both countries. For Korea, they get to tap into the Japanese market again. While K-pop is on an upswing again in Japan because of groups like TWICE and BTS, it's been a while since the K-pop craze hit Japan in the early 2010s. There's a reason why Japan is still the second largest music industry in the world, and why the AKB family is insanely profitable. For Japan, they get the exposure of the K-pop phenomenon and all of its popularity around the world today. There's a reason why K-pop is known as the it and trendy music from Asia. So wrapping it up, I feel that the J-pop idols have a lot of advantages going for them. And I feel that they have a high ceiling as well, because while their singing and dancing aren't that high, their personality, their stage presence, and just how they hype up the audience is already up here, because they're trained as J-pop idols to do so. It's part of the J-pop culture. Whereas a lot of the K-pop idols, for better or worse, don't have that bond with their fans. They don't have as much of a hype factor, energetic factor that a lot of the J-pop idols have with their fans. And I feel another reason why the J-pop stars stand a good chance against the K-pop stars is that all they really have to work on is their choreography and their singing. And there's a lot of work to be done, trust me, with the majority of the Japanese singers. As the show goes on and their singing choreography gets better, you're gonna see that a lot of the J-pop stars are gonna become the complete package because they're very likable, they can sing and dance like K-pop stars. I'm excited to see what Produce 48 has in store for us. So guys, what do you think about this video? Do you guys agree that the J-pop stars have a major advantage? Do you think the J-pop stars will succeed on Produce 48? I'd like to know your comments in the comments below. And if you guys want to pick up my free ebook, The 10 Most Important Lessons That I Learned While Working in K-pop Media, which has a lot of life lessons, not just about in K-pop, then please sign up for my free email list below and grab that free ebook. And with that being said, I'm off to watch another music video, but I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.